This week in Battlefield, despite it being a relatively quiet week, we have some slight hints at an LA map in the upcoming Battlefield game. DICE have also tweeted out about the Battlefield newsletter, which I found to be interesting, and I'll explain just why. And there was not only a new update for 2042 with update 8.5.0, but also a Liquidators event as well, which I'll break down for all of you guys in today's video. If you guys are new around here and you're interested in seeing weekly news updates just like this one, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is plenty more content on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. But with that being said, let's get stuck into this week in Battlefield. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about, which is no doubt what probably drew a lot of your attention to this video, more so than the 2042 stuff, this is the fact that there are seemingly some hints at a potential LA map in the upcoming Battlefield game. Now, I want to shout out SMK Gaming. He was the one who I initially saw tweeting about this, so this isn't coming from me. I just want to make that clear. He is the one that I am pretty much seeing this from. And if you guys haven't checked out his content, be sure to go and check it out. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel down in the description. Now, he tweeted out just not too long before I'm recording this that he found something very interesting on the sign-up sheet for the Battlefield Labs sort of playtesting that they're doing. And that is what you can see here, that when you go onto the site, there is a little area on the screen, which is somewhat hidden, but it's obviously visible enough that they kind of want people to see this. And it says, take the target alongside some coordinates as well. Now, SMK went to the trouble of actually putting those coordinates into Google, and this is where that shows up. It is the Civic Center in downtown LA, which, yeah, I found to be very, very interesting. Obviously, that doesn't confirm anything whatsoever, so I want to start that off by saying let's just take all of this with a grain of salt. It could just be them trying to throw us off. It could just even be something to do with like Ripple Effect, for example. They're based in LA. Maybe this is just like a little nod to them. I don't know. It could be anything. But the way that I generally see stuff like this is that they have gone to the trouble of putting that on the website. This wasn't found by accident. It's not like found in the source code of the website or something like that. It's essentially seen on one of the banner images for the sign up page, meaning that someone at EA, whether it's at DICE, Ripple Effect, wherever, they have created this graphic. It has most likely gone through multiple approvals to be put onto the website, and then they have purposely put it on that website alongside the words take the target. So of course, take it all with a grain of salt, but for me, why are they doing that if they don't want us to kind of start pulling at some of these threads and trying to figure out stuff about the game? They did this for 2042. They've done this for plenty of games in the past, where they just give these little bits of information that don't really mean anything, but it does allow us to start sort of piecing things together. Now, this is also interesting on another front too, because for those who didn't know, there is already a map based in LA, which ironically is called Downtown, and that was from Battlefield Hardline, which is why I'm sure a lot of Battlefield fans probably don't even know this exists, because Hardline was obviously a much smaller, more like a niche, almost spin-off version of Battlefield, and although it was really fun, it wasn't as big as the rest of the game. So for those who didn't know that, there is already an LA map in the Battlefield franchise, and it's interesting to think that, you know, maybe they're going to remake that. Maybe it will just be completely different. It obviously doesn't need to be a complete remake, but if it is based on the city of LA and if it's in downtown, they're not going to take too many liberties with that. I'm pretty sure they would stick to a relatively lifelike representation of downtown LA. So all in all, I thought that was all very interesting. Again, shout out SMK for finding that, because I've actually scoured a lot of stuff. You guys have seen my trailer breakdown. I found a date in there and stuff. Like, I've really looked around for a lot of this stuff, but I completely missed this. So yeah, big shout out to SMK for finding that, and I am no doubt now going to keep my eyes peeled even more than I already was for little bits of information like that. So that is the first thing that I wanted to mention in today's video. Again, take it all with a grain of salt. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but like I said, why have they put that there otherwise? Now, the next couple of stories, I guess, in this video are mostly to do with 2042. The first one, not as much, because it is talking about a Battlefield newsletter that, as far as I know, has been going on for a while. This is essentially just the way that they get information out there to people's email address. It's nothing like crazy. It's not some blog post they do every week or something. It is literally just all the news that they would be tweeting out and stuff. They just put that into an email and send it out. So it's nothing crazy, but they did actually just tweet about this again only yesterday as I'm recording this. Now, it is kind of strange to be tweeting about that because, you know, most of it has been surrounding 2042, and that game is obviously kind of like past its live service. I know it's still getting updates and stuff, which we will touch on in a second, but in my opinion, the live service for that game is done. They are now all on to the next game, and it's just kind of being maintained as far as I'm concerned. So I found it interesting that they want people to sign up for this newsletter. Does that mean we're going to get some information about the upcoming game anytime soon? Obviously, we just got the Battlefield Labs trailer, but now it does feel as though we probably won't hear anything for quite some time, probably a few months at least. But yeah, the fact that they're tweeting out about this newsletter, and they've even offered some exclusive rewards for this. You get an Iris skin and a Condor skin as well. I did find that to be very interesting. I think a lot of the timing around this stuff is always interesting to pay attention to, because they wouldn't just randomly tweet this when they have no information to share or anything. They could be sort of gearing up to, you know, in the next couple of months, start talking even more so about the upcoming Battlefield. So I thought that was interesting. Obviously not that big of a deal, but I thought I would throw that in there anyway. Now, the two final things that I wanted to talk about in today's video were the update for 2042, that is update 8.5.0, and there's also a new Liquidators event as well. Now, the patch notes for update 8.5 are nothing special. It's a pretty small update, as they all generally are. Like I said, now the game is essentially done with its live service. One thing that I did want to share though is the new loading screens that they've actually sort of updated for 2042. Now, this is obviously a small thing. It doesn't change the game whatsoever, but I've got to say they look really, really nice, and I'm interested to see whether this is something that they're maybe like trying to refine and make look a bit nicer in the lead up to the next game. Even though they are separate games, I do tend to think that when it comes to like the UI artists and stuff like that, I do think that they do a lot of practice on previous games that then shape the way that they make the next game. I'm sure they're going to take a lot of feedback from 2042's UI, because at least early on, a lot of people really didn't like it. It's been improved a lot, but I think there's still a lot that people want to see change. So some slight tweaks here through the loading screen are maybe a hint at not necessarily an exact replica of what we'll see in the next game, obviously, but just a bit of a vibe change, I guess I would say. And I've got to say, I do think they look a lot better than they previously did. Now, as for the rest of the patch notes, it's all pretty small. They fixed overlapping input prompts on the deploy screen. AI soldiers should no longer die out of bounds when fighting in the shipwreck. They also added an insertion sequence for the Black Hawk. The camera transition should now be smoother when switching views in seats while in a vehicle. And they fixed a bug where projectiles would despawn when firing from above the air vehicle's max height. Lastly, they also fixed an issue where players were unable to purchase the accelerated event pass if all levels were completed before the purchase. So, like I said, pretty small update that is to be expected. I honestly forgot the game was even still being updated, because I haven't really been playing it lately. Ironically, I just downloaded it again the other day because I'll obviously start playing it again and get some more footage for the background of these videos. But yeah, I honestly forgot they're still updating the game. So that is a quick look at update 8.5. And then lastly, like I said, there is also a new Liquidators event that is live in 2042, where essentially just playing, you'll earn ribbons to unlock a weapon charm, a skin for Crawford, and a weapon skin for the M5A3. So pretty nice stuff there. It's nothing crazy, and as far as I know, those items are all pretty old. They've all been in the game for a while, but obviously they were tied to the initial Liquidators limited time modes and stuff like that. So that's more for those who maybe weren't playing back in the day. There's some pretty nice skins, so I think it's a good addition, but obviously nothing new or anything like that. But that is essentially it for this week in Battlefield. Like I said, guys, it is a pretty quiet week, and I'd imagine most weeks are going to be quiet. I'm going to have to reach quite a bit to try and find some news, but definitely some exciting stuff there from SMK when it comes to finding the stuff about the potential LA map. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's plenty more content like this on the way. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.